Welcome to a brand new episode of Movie Talk on Ocean Chicks Films. Tonight in the broadcast studio, we have artist and illustrator Arfon Jones. Arfon creates incredible horror movie-inspired paintings that have been displayed and sold worldwide. On his YouTube channel, Vid-o-Rama, you can watch him create a painting while discussing the film. He also takes viewer requests. Arfon is also an amazing comic book illustrator for Hellbound Media in the UK. So please sit back and enjoy this interview, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Today in the broadcast studio, I'm chatting with artist and illustrator Arfon Jones. So tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got started.
I'm an artist by trade, and it all started when I do everything by hand. I'm very old-fashioned. It's all paint on card. So, and I would often get people saying, "Oh, could you move this person here, or could you change colour?" And I'd be going, "Well, no, I can't, because this is all painted. I've been working on this for 3 weeks." So what I did was I decided one day to just film myself on my mobile, just me doing the painting, just in the hope that it would spread awareness that I'm actually an old-fashioned artist and not able to do that. It got a good response, and so I decided I enjoyed it so much that I sort of upgraded the software and used an old camera. And I just filmed myself painting a tribute to Frankenhooker. And that got a good response. I was quite pleased with that. And I enjoyed doing it as well. I enjoyed, just painting my own little take on it. And the back of my mind, hoping somebody might go, "Oh, yeah, I love that film. I like you put that in there." Or it might inspire other people to want to, watch the movie for themselves. Right. And, I would just upload them from time to time. And but the problem I had was I used to play the trailer over the or the soundtrack, it's like, but YouTube would clamp down hard on you if you're using them. Even if a trailer, I get strikes because there's a bit of music in their trailer. Yeah. So I found myself having to talk because I didn't have anything to go over it, and I thought it might be a bit boring. So I started off saying, "This is how I do it," and sort of explain the process. And I'm afraid I'm one of these boring people who watch a film and go, "Oh yes, that person was in this movie," or "Did you know that they did this?" This provided me an outlet to do that, really. So I reel off. And the thing is, I paint tributes to movies that I myself like, so I'm quite fond and passionate of them. So I'll ramble on about them.
Right. And I think that's really exciting that you do that, because I think people are interested in hearing your perspective on the movie, but you're taking it to another level where you're actually painting things from the movie too. So people really enjoy that. Do they?
They do. I've had a lot of people say, "Oh, I watched it having watched your video," and so to me that's a great compliment, because I mean, that is what I wanted to do. Right. But I'm very particular. I try not to put spoilers in. Right. That could be a bit of a problem, but sometimes you just have to do it because, it's like, I keep saying I'm going to do Sleepaway Camp, and I just think, do I? Who do I put on it? Do I? It's like, yeah.
So you tend to pick movies that you enjoy.
I do. The other thing is, I just feel that there's too many people just having a go at movies, complaining about them and being unpleasant about them. Yeah. There's enough negativity in the world. We don't need people saying, "I don't like this film." It's like, if you don't like it, you don't like it. And so I try and be a bit more... My wife and I were saying, it's like, there's so much negativity. It's like, so I'm trying to create something a bit more positive. I'm hoping that my fondness for the movie comes through in the video. Right. I've been told it does, so yeah.
Yeah, it does. I absolutely love the Black Christmas painting that you worked on. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that was the first one that drew me in. I was like, oh, I love that movie so much. You did such a great job with that.
Oh, thank you very much. I was trying to hold back. I was putting a lot of snow in there, and I realized I've got to stop now, otherwise this is just going to be blanketed in snow. But that was a fun one, yeah.
So what sorts of mediums do you work with? How does that work? Is it paint? Is it drawing? Is it...
Well, I draw with pen, just a normal big biro,
Right.
and once I've got that, usually I sort of sit down and I say, right, I want this element, this element, this element, and
Right.
then what I'll do is I tend to draw on them separately, so I have separate pieces of paper, and then what I do is I cut them out and stick them onto a sheet, and sometimes I'll reduce them, if I've done it too big or so, just to fit everything in. And then once that I'm happy with it, I transfer it to card.
Yeah.
I use thin card because I use acrylic paint, and so it takes the paint better, because if you paint straight onto paper, it'll cause it to warp. And
Right.
so it's acrylic paint on thin card,
Right.
and I use pens then to fill in the majority of the detail.
Right.
Yeah.
Is this something you developed on your own, or is it something that you learned how to do?
I was in art college for 8 years, and I always tell people I'm completely self-taught.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I get that. Same
yeah.
way for me too.
I sense my own. Yeah. And I used to work in felt tip pens. It was just pens were all the only medium I used. It was just something I had as a kid, because I always drew as a child, and I would have my felt tip pens, and I'd have very cheap felt tip pens. And years in, I would notice, you sort of dig up, your old portfolio and so on, and then suddenly you go, wow, these are fading. So I realised I needed something that would keep its colour better. So I thought, well, I genuinely think that it was acrylic paint, because it was the only thing I could find that weekend. I'm in the middle of nowhere as far as art supplies. I actually think it was a painting by numbers set I started with. So it was just like these little pots, and so I was teaching myself how to apply the paint, and it's still quite a basic process, but it is one I developed.
Right. When I went to art school too, I was primarily into drawing, just with graphite pencils, black and white. That was my thing, and it was really difficult for me to interpret color and work with paint. It took a long time, and but that's basically what I did. I just got some and just sat down and started playing with them, and realizing that you could work with the color and the acrylic the same as you can when you're drawing. It's the same kind of idea. You're just applying colors into it. So that's kind of neat. It's interesting that you're saying that's kind of how you learned how to do it too.
Yeah, I remember I was painting on coloured paper as well, because I realised that I need a lot of paint to stick. So I would use the coloured paper as a sort of way of darkening it. I had my little process, but it was all hit or miss. It was a little experiment, But,
do you work on canvas as well, or you're just working on boards?
I've never worked on a canvas. It's partly, again, it was just I worked on card, and I went on that. And obviously when I started with the paint, I'd sort of noticed that if I applied too much water, the paper would react. So, then it was a case of the card. The reason I use thin card is actually because the process I said, where I photocopy the sketch onto card, it needs to be a certain thickness to be able to go through the machine. So it's just that, it's like, but it's really funny, because you think you've got this process that you've just started developing, and then you realise you've been doing it for 25 years. That's the thing about this channel, is when I talk about my process, I suddenly go, I've been doing that for, sometimes I'm watching myself and I think, I didn't know I did that. Right. So, like I said, I've been doing this for years, but I'm still learning, and yeah.
Yeah. The YouTube experience is kind of a different experience to put towards the art. How do you feel about the internet and computers connecting with fine art?
I love the internet. I'm always like this old man, if we had this in my day, I firmly believe that if I had the internet, say 35 years ago, I think my life would be very different. I think, but it certainly is the way forward. It just seems to work, doesn't it? I mean, I think what's great about it is that you can talk about anything, and if somebody is interested, they could just Google it, and then they can. Whereas, there was a time if you happened to watch something on TV. And you were interested, you'd have to go to the library, you'd have to find a book, and I just think, these days, I mean, I do it. I don't know if you do, but I can't watch a film or a TV show now without, what is that? And then suddenly you go down the rabbit hole, and then I've got a new thing. It's like I'm suddenly interested in something else, and I think that's what's great about the internet, is that you'll find your answers straight away.
So where do you get your ideas from? Is that how you get your ideas, from watching the movies?
Yeah, sometimes I've got an idea, I'll suddenly think, well, I'd like to, because I've got a backlist, sometimes people say, oh, I'd like to see this film, and I'll be going, yeah, that's been on my list for, but I have a system I work through, and sometimes I'll think, oh, that film, I'd like to try this process out. But a lot of the times what I do is, if I know which film I'm going to do, and even though I've seen it many times, I'll go back and watch it again with the sketchpad.
Right.
I just make notes, just, oh, well, got to put that in, and there might be some background information or something I've not noticed, that I'll just make a sketch of it, and then I might suddenly go, oh, well, I need to do that, and that should go there. In some cases, it's just the case of, how do I get all this onto a sheet of A3? But yeah, there's always something in the back there that's sort of going, But I try not to. I try to mix it up. I don't know how successful I am, but something works, you will try doing it again. But I try and tell myself to try it differently, and
a little bit of different.
Case in point, the Black Christmas one. It's like I'd never done that. The stipple effect with the snow.
Oh, gotcha.
Even the stipple effect, it was something I toyed with, but I'd never done it, and I thought, well, rather than it being a flat background, I'll put that in, and I liked it, and then I did it with the snow, and it's funny, I wasn't too sure whether it worked, and when I did the second time on the smaller window, I was happier with that, and then I thought, okay, well, I think it worked.
Yeah. Oh, it works very well.
That is the one thing that I don't think comes across in the video, is me going, should I put that there?
I'll have to rewatch it again to see that. I didn't notice it.
Yeah, well, I don't always record my own reaction, but it is quite interesting looking back, and
Right.
But it's like there is a bit of hesitation. Should I leave it as it is? Because I've got a bad habit of going overboard with the detail, and
right.
It's a case of pulling back, and it's also time as well. Because people don't like waiting a month for a video, so they certainly don't want to wait 6 months for every painting. So,
right. How long does it take you to finish a painting?
It varies. I'd say about 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. It varies. Sometimes it could be you draw somebody and they look good in black and white. And then as soon as you start to apply paint, you think, that doesn't look anything like them. And so I have to go back and change it. And I won't leave it. I have to be completely happy. There's been a few times where I've started and I wasn't happy with the background colour, and I've gone back and done it again. I'm trying to think which one it was, actually. But I do remember doing it. Oh, that's going to bug me now. I can't think which one it was. But but I painted the background and it just didn't look right to me. So I went back and I did it again, and that'll take you back, and it varies, but I'd say about 4 weeks.
Do you find it's exciting? There's so many different types of mediums, art products that are on the market now. I get so overwhelmed when I go into an art supply store and I just want to buy everything. Yeah.
Especially with colors, because I've done it today, actually. The one I'm working on now, I've introduced a new color. And it's so hit or miss, because you try it, so you read reviews, and some people say it's good and others don't, and it's the consistency. And but I'm like that. Suddenly I'll think, I do a lot of my shopping online, so I don't get that experience. But if I go to a craft shop, guaranteed I'll see something and just think, I'm going to start, working with leather now. It's just like there's always something I'd like to take up and learn. Yeah.
Have you ever created a print and sent it to one of the actors or director from the film?
Yes. Well, many years ago, I used to attend a lot of conventions. I was going to conventions before they were cool. But I used to go to conventions, and I would, in some cases I create something because I knew I was going to meet them, and I would take the print and get them to sign the original artwork and give them the print.
Nice.
So I've done that over the years. There's been a few times where I've sent work out to, again, this is the great thing with the internet, is that you can make contact with the people that worked on it. I mean, if I went back 25, 30 years and told myself, you'll be talking to the actors or the directors of this movie while you're doing a tribute to them, I wouldn't have believed you. So that's what I love about it. It's like, so when you get somebody actually commenting that they like, they'll say, "Oh, I like your painting," and it's like, "I love your film." It's just.
Who have you met?
Who have I met? Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Does he have one of your art?
No, it was the fun. I just met him. We were at an event. It was celebrating the anniversary of Predator.
Okay.
So that was a nice thing. Met him.
Right.
Met Bruce Campbell. Another hero of mine.
Yeah.
Elvira. She was very nice. I did actually give her a painting. What it was is I painted Elvira. But what I did was I painted Cassandra as well. I painted my own little portrait. But what I did was I painted her as she is, with a silhouette of Elvira behind her. And I took it to her, and she seemed genuinely pleased with it. So that was very nice. I had the photo. She was holding the photo stuff. So that was a real nice moment.
That, I bet. Yeah, that's very cool. Who do you want to paint next? Like, what would be your dream?
In relation to the channel, or just...
Sure.
I've got this idea for a tribute to Arnold Schwarzenegger on his movies. I'd like to do that at some point.
That would be cool.
I've had that knocking in the back of my mind for a few years now.
Right.
I'm still to feature Bruce Campbell on the channel. So I think that this could be the year. I'm hoping to do that.
That would be incredible.
I mean, it's like 3 years, and it's only now I painted a John Carpenter movie.
Wow. I'm doing actually a big series on John Carpenter right now too.
All right. Which is your favorite movie of his?
Favorite? I like the first Halloween, of course, and I just I love The Thing, but I just watched Prince of Darkness, and that one might be kind of in the top, maybe my most favorite. But I love all of them.
It's often overlooked, I find, that one.
What's that?
I find that Prince of Darkness is often overlooked, isn't it? It's
very much so, yeah.
I don't know why that is.
I only watched it the first time the other night, actually. And I'd like to actually get them on Blu-ray so I can rewatch a few times, because there's so much there. That would be an interesting one for you to...
Yeah, I have got that one.
Do you?
Yeah. It's right next to They Live.
Oh, cool.
The Thing is right there.
Cool. Yeah. Yeah, those are great films.
Yeah. Oh, no, I'd love... I like... you can't not like Halloween. If there is somebody that does like Halloween, I've not met them yet. So, but They Live I like. But The Thing, I think, is my favourite, I think.
I watched They Live last night, actually, too, for the first time. I don't know why I haven't seen it before.
It's really funny, because it was one of these movies that I would always tell people about, and they would say, and then suddenly it seems to... Everybody's talking. I think it's because we've become quite paranoid. So we're convinced that everybody's out, with them, and so it's quite fitting.
It is, yeah.
I got the Funko Pop the other day. I never thought I'd see a They Live Funko Pop, I must say.
Oh, wow. How can people purchase your work?
They can go to the Etsy store.
Yes.
There's a link to that on every video.
Okay.
And I'm on all the social media platforms, so if they just want to get in touch and ask me, by all means.
I'll link everything in the description box below too here.
Thank you very much.
For you, so people can get in touch with you. And you do commissions as well, or do you just sell what you make?
I take commissions. Yeah, I do that. So I work in comics as well. So I work with a lot of horror comics as well. There's a company here in the UK called Hellbound Media,
Right?
and I illustrate their Slaughterhouse Farm series.
Ah,
Yeah,
that's very cool.
yeah, it's great. It's like a homage to the slasher movies of the 80s, but it's a
Right,
bit more modern, and it's actually set in North Wales.
right.
So it's not written by me. It's written by Matt Warner, and I illustrate it. I do the covers. I illustrate it, and we're working on the second, the sequel, if you will, which is Slaughterhouse Hospital.
Wow.
So yeah, so
That's a whole different process, is it?
I work mostly in black and white for that one, for the pages. It's very funny actually, because I mean, I used to do the covers and paintings and for them, but now I do them in black and white, and they get them coloured, and so it's quite interesting for me to see other people's take and what colour they think.
Oh, that's how it works. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know where to begin with it, and it was really funny because thing is, I usually work on them about a year in advance, so I haven't seen them for some time, and then when I get the finished versions, it's very interesting to see them in colour with the speech bubbles, and sometimes you forget you've done them, and
yeah. So they tell you specifically what to draw and how to draw, like each frame, or do you have a lot of?
They send me a script, and I go through it, and in some cases it's very specific from which perspective. And I just draw them up. I work on it again. It's all done by hand, so it's very old-fashioned in that respect. But it's all coloured and lettered, on the computer. So
and it's kind of ink on paper.
Yes, yeah.
Do you have to redo a lot? Is it a lot of redoing to get it just right?
Sometimes it's like I was saying before. You'll be working on something, and then something it doesn't quite look right, and you'll go back and work on it, and I can't go back and look at the old issues now because I can notice. I can tell that I wasn't quite, I wasn't getting it. I can tell into the comic where it clicked. I knew what I was doing with it because I'd never done it before. I never illustrated. I always wanted to, but when I finally had the opportunity, I was a dinosaur because I didn't know what to start with doing it on the computer, and so but it seems to work. I think it lends itself because it's especially when they were in black and white. I think it set the mood, so I think that worked.
Right. How did you get into that field?
As an illustrator, I wasn't doing much in horror. I actually started out wanting to be a cartoonist. I didn't do that much with horror. But there was a independent horror film being made in this area called Zombies from Ireland.
Right.
And I worked with them, and I painted the poster for them. And then Matt Warner from Hellbound got in touch and said, I'd seen your artwork on the movie poster. Would you be interested in joining us in the comic? And I said yes. And so I've been working with them for the past 10 years now.
Wow, that's incredible.
And stuff. So yeah, so I do that sort of brings me into the horror circles. I mean, I've always been interested in horror, but I never thought I'd be working with it. So
interesting.
Yeah.
Do you branch out and do a little bit of science fiction or comedy or that kind of thing, or you're primarily it's horror?
I like all of those. I like science fiction. I mean, I love comedy. I'm very old fashioned when it comes to my taste because I like classic comedy. I like classic sci-fi. I like classic horror. Because the thing is, although I like horror, I love creature features. Actually, and they tend to sort of lean more towards science fiction. So, so I like that kind of thing. It's like anything that's got mutants or giant dinosaurs or robots or
me too.
Wrong scientists, who want revenge. Then I love that kind of thing. And but I like my comedy as well. I like classic comedy.
Right.
So yeah, I quite like a black comedy as well. So they're always crossing over. It's like
Right. So do you tend to stay away from the newer movies and the newer stuff, or?
I wouldn't say stay away from them. I just I'm not terribly up on them. I know what's popular, but I'm quite behind on things when it comes to that. But there's so many movies, it's like, I mean, you can sit down and watch a movie you've never heard of that came out in the 50s, and it's brilliant. It's like there's so much. There's such a back.
I agree. It's
really funny because I hadn't watched House of a Thousand Corpses, and I thought, it's a new film, and I thought, it's 20 years old. It's like, so I just,
I know.
I used to say that my taste in horror sort of tapered out at the 90s.
Right.
And I realised that was a while ago. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. And when I did, I thought, I wish I'd watched this a lot sooner. It's like, but I watch some modern stuff. It's like, but I tend to sort of stick to the older stuff.
I do too. There's so much to watch.
There is, and I don't know if you get this from the channel, but I'm sort of rooting for the underdog. There are movies that people have never heard of, and I think they're worthy of a view, and I think they're great. And so then people keep sort of talking about the same ones. I was watching a review about Chopping Mall. Yep. Yeah, it's like Chopping Mall is brilliant. And so few people know about it.
Yeah.
But I'm always waving the banner for the flag for the movie that needs more attention.
Yeah. I watched Night of the Comet. I did a review on that, and then some of my viewers were saying you need to watch Chopping Mall. You have to watch it. So I watched it, and it's incredible. I would love to meet Kelly Maroney one day.
Yeah, same here.
Love to chat with her. She seems just like such a lovely person.
Yeah.
She's very passionate about what she does, and she really connects with all of her viewers. Yeah. She goes to a lot of the conventions. I think that's really cool. I think that adds to the whole thing. But those are incredible. I saw your artwork too for Chopping Mall. Yeah, it's really good. That was
fun. I don't think I really set myself a challenge, because what I did was I decided that I want to recreate a map of the store, of the mall. Yeah. So I was there pausing, and trying to catch what the name of the shop was, because I'm not from America, so I wouldn't know what the brands were. So I was trying to. I had it down to one shop, and but if you look at it, that is as accurate as I could get it for that floor. Because obviously, in movies, it's like they turn a corner, and because I've studied this, no, that's the other side. So it's like you figure out how Jim Wynorski was filming it. It's very interesting. That is one of the things about this that also allows me the opportunity to go back and really analyze the films. But
a lot of what he did was created in, like, it wasn't actually the real thing, like a lot of the stores and that kind of thing. Some of it was done on set as well. So that's kind of a neat thing.
I mean, you wouldn't know, would you? It's like the paint store at the end. You would not know.
No, you wouldn't, would you?
No.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't. I find that really fascinating too. I watch some other YouTubers that go around to the different places where things were filmed, and I find that fascinating as well, because a lot of it's not there. It was made in studio, or it's been destroyed and built over, or some of it's still there. So it's pretty. I like watching those kinds of videos.
Yeah, I'm the same. I actually, it's about 11 years ago, I actually got to go to the Ghostbusters fire station. Oh. I actually went to New York, and I went to a few of the site stuff. I was just couldn't believe it. But I'd see it, and it was just wonderful. There aren't many places, but I know if I went to, when I was going around New York, I was looking at this cathedral. I go, I'm sure that's the cathedral that we see in Gremlins 2, and it's just. And then I was right, but it's just like I didn't realise that they put more on it. It wasn't quite but I'm always spotting. But I'd love to go to locations and like see where they filmed and line them up. And I watch a lot of them myself.
What are some of the things that you've kind of gone, can't do it?
But likenesses can be a bit of a challenge at times. It depends on the movie, really. Sometimes these movies just have little to no information on them.
Right.
So you can't get, I know that if I want to paint Halloween, I know there's going to be Google Image is going to be full of pictures of Michael Myers.
Right. Yeah.
But if you're looking for a more obscure movie, then it's going to be a little bit more challenging, because sometimes these actors, they only did the one movie and then they just disappeared, whereas other actors, it's easier to find their publicity stills and stuff. So that could be a bit of a challenge. You have to pause and you have to look for it, and but I enjoy doing it all the same, because I like, it's almost like hunting, it's like you're sort of like, I'm going to find this publicity still, I'm going to find, and in turn you learn about the actors' careers and stuff, and then it sort of helps me with the information for the video afterwards. But likeness can be a bit of a challenge. Straight lines I have trouble with. Oh. I'm not very good. I like everything to be very particular, but I'm not very good with them. I always seem to go off slightly. But
it's very funny you're saying that, because my mother used to always say she could never be an artist because she couldn't even draw a straight line. And you're saying that too.
Yeah. Well, I can't do it. I have my ruler, and you always see me doing it. And then when I put it on the scanner, I realised just how off I was. It's like all of a sudden. But which again, it's like going back to the comics. It's like suddenly I realise my panels are just slightly off. And they compensate. But
it's really cool that you dig deeper into the film and you analyze it the way you're describing your process. I like to look at the film myself first and dig a little deeper in the behind the scenes and see where people are coming from, because there's usually a story to it. People put a lot into doing a film, it's their art, it's their form of expression. And I think it's really important that we give it a chance.
Absolutely.
There are films that are bad. Yeah, there are. There are some that are genuinely bad. But
I'm the first, I'll say, oh, this is slow. But more often I'll get through it because I'll find something. It's rare that I will actually give up on a movie. Because, but the way I've always looked at it is I've never made a movie. So who am I to criticize someone else's work, if somebody was to do that to me and they never done it, then, that's what I don't get with critics. It's like, well, sorry, what is your qualification? It's
exactly.
That's the way I look at it. So, I don't think I've got a right to say this is a bad movie, especially who cares what I think, So that's the way I look at it. It's like, if you enjoy it, then it worked. But like you said, it's like sometimes I'll find out, it's like Spookies. I painted the tribute to Spookies recently, and when you hear of the trouble that they had and the challenges they had to make that movie, suddenly it all makes sense, and I find that I appreciate it more because despite all the odds, they got it done. And then you find out about the hardships and the problems they had with people and the difficulties, especially with funding. It's like, I wouldn't even know where to begin. And you find out these people have been making these movies in their spare time. So when you find out what these people were going through and the sacrifices that a lot of them have made just to get that movie made, I just think,
exactly.
Let's be pleased for them that they got it done.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. Totally agree. Do you ever think about working on a set of a movie or somehow connecting your artwork that way, or is it strictly just you're illustrating and?
You mean, would I like to work on production of a movie? Yeah.
On the practical effects or this, special effects.
No, I'd love that. Yeah. I have done a little bit of production for TV in here in Wales. Which I enjoyed. I did that briefly. But no, I'd love it because I'm one of these people that I'll watch the movie and I'll spot the little Easter eggs and the references to previous movies and so the idea of dressing up a set and I was always interested in special effects. I think it just we do, don't we? If you like science fiction, you like to know how it works. So it's you take an interest. So I was always sort of interested in that, and I was when I was at art college. I did have an idea, and I was thinking of making my own movie, which was basically like a Child's Play ripoff. And I just. I was interested in the effects, and I made the puppets. I like to make practical,
Yeah.
sculptures and props and stuff as well.
Ah,
So
that's very cool.
I never rule anything out.
Is there anything you want to promote that you're working on in the next little while?
There's a new video on the way.
Yeah.
This month. If you subscribe to the channel, you will obviously get all the updates and so on. And just keep watching the channel, and there should be a movie a month on there.
Right.
So yeah, subscribe, like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah, and it's Vid-o-Rama.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you go to
YouTube, I'll post it down below.
That's great, thank you. It's Vid-o-Rama videos, but if you go to vid-o-rama.com, it will take you straight through.
Okay. Yeah.
That's excellent. And you know, I encourage people to check out the older videos, because I'm trying to cater to all tastes of horror. It's so broad.
Right.
You know, I try and cater to everybody. So have a look. I might have another one of your favourites there.
Yeah.
And if
well,
not,
I absolutely love your artwork.
Well, thank you very much. But I was going to say,
it's amazing.
I welcome any recommendations. So if anybody wants to put in the comments which film they'd like to see feature in the future video, pop it down the bottom and I'll have a look.
Awesome. Very awesome.
But thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Lovely chatting with you.
Well, thank you.
You can come back anytime if you want to promote anything.
Oh, you'll regret that now.
Everybody always says that to me. Nice chatting with you.
And you, thank you very much for having me. I'll see you soon.
You're welcome. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this. I sure did. I got to do 3 of my favorite things. I got to talk about art, horror movies, and comic books all at the same time. Absolutely incredible. And I just want to take the time out to say once again, thank you so much, Arfon, for coming by, and you are welcome back anytime. So if you guys want to check out more of his work, he also sells his prints and paintings too. I've got everything linked down below in the description box. I've got his YouTube channel, his Patreon, his blog, all of that jazz. And also I put a link to Hellbound Media so you can check out his comic books too. And if you like this video, don't forget to give me a like because it helps me out a lot, and subscribe to the channel for more interviews like this and for movie reviews, countdowns, and of course the Final Girls of Horror. And I have to make one announcement. The Final Girls of Horror now has an Instagram too, so go check that out. Lots of fun posts there. Thanks so much, you guys, for stopping by and watching. I love you all, and I will see you again soon. Bye, guys.